Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hi there. How are you today? I am doing well. Let's see what's happening here. Here we go. Today, my guest, I hope, she's not here yet, but my guest is Yumi Ito, and there she is. And hi, Yumi. Hello, Yumi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Cathy.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, and we're actually live already. Normally, I come on a little early to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just realized that you were probably earlier. I also just came out.
I'm just glad you're here. Yeah, I wanted to. Sorry, before we get really into hellos and everything, I have a little cutting and pasting to do, and I wanted to play something of yours on YouTube. And if I play things that like official music videos, that kind of thing, then they take me down. So I was wondering, should I do this one, the what seems to be, or something that's not official, like the jazz festival? What would you suggest? The
Yeah,
Yumi?
Jazz Festival is cool too.
And I'm just playing it for 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll talk, and then we can play other stuff afterwards. So this is just to start off.
Yeah.
The orchestra?
Yeah. I just don't know from which minutes, but.
Is it all you? What about this one at the old redwood tree?
Yeah, that maybe not so much. It's fine. I think you can put that what seems to be. I think it's fine. I don't know.
Okay.
From those not official ones.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right. So bear with me. I'm just going to do a little cutting and pasting. And after I cut and paste,
Behind every
everybody
lie,
will
there
see
lies a
that.
bit of truth. When you close your eyes, you're not alone. Because you fear doesn't mean you are in danger. When you love doesn't mean you won't get hurt. Doesn't mean you can't see. What we call reality might not be. All you can buy doesn't mean you're rich. But though you're alive, it doesn't mean you live a full life. Sometimes things seem to be not the way you think they are. Life's full of surprises. Life's a big mystery. Oh, sometimes things seem to be not the way you think they are. Surprises. Life's a big mystery that only can be solved by you. Sometimes things seem to be not the way you think they are. Life's full of surprises. Life's a big mystery. Oh, sometimes things seem to be not the way you think they are. Life's full of surprises. Life's a big mystery that only can be told by you.
Love it. That was really cool. You sing
Thank
great.
you.
I love how you sing.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you. Thanks for the
Hi
invitation.
there.
Oh,
It's great to meet you. Yeah, it's really great to meet you. And I forgot where I saw you first, actually, but wherever it was,
YouTube or Spotify.
no, there's so many places to see people now,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just doing one more
Oh,
thing,
no problem.
setting up
I
my.
sent you 3 links in the chat
Oh,
if you want
good.
to make use
Thank
of that later. I'm not sure where if the second one starts at the right moment, but I think
Great.
so.
I will look at that, the chat. Oh, yes, definitely. Oh, good. Thank you. That's
You're
great.
welcome.
Okay, we'll do that. So here you are, and I'm just getting my stuff together.
Do I have to click on anything on Facebook or so?
You don't have to click on anything. I will tell
Okay.
you people who are talking or who want to know stuff. I mean, you can
Okay.
look at Facebook. Sometimes people do, but
Yeah.
it's totally fine. So so where are you living right now?
In Switzerland, in
Okay.
Basel. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Yeah. And so, and what's happening in your life right now? We won't start at the very beginning. We'll just start in the moment. What's going on with you right now? You're traveling probably and performing, or is that not quite up to par because of the pandemic, or what's going on?
No, right now it's a lot going on. Like, even during the pandemic, I was able to play concerts. I mean, not so many, but still also traveling a bit to Spain, Iceland, and Poland. But now, I play a lot of shows. Currently, I'm on tour, especially in Europe. And we're gonna hit the road again in 2 weeks. We go to Italy, and then we go down to the south, to Sicily, and we play there at some festivals. and then we go to Poland and Spain and back to Switzerland and Germany.
Oh
Yeah.
my
And
gosh.
then in October, I think to Nepal for the first time. So I'm really excited about that. So
Yeah.
I just had to answer some emails today and yeah, just figuring out flights and trains and yeah, the whole organizational stuff. And we just came back from Spain. I had a concert there at the Becca Jazz Festival, which it was my first time in the south of Spain. I loved it. I was thinking of, I don't know, someday like buy or getting a house there, like a holiday house, or just moving to Spain. I really love that vibe. Yeah. But in Switzerland right now, it's also a bit like in Spain. It's pretty hot these days. So.
Yeah. Yeah, Spain is really pretty near the water too, especially. It's really nice.
Yeah, I love it. Have you been to Spain?
I have. I can't remember the town because I was on a small tour through Spain, and I mean, saying it's an old town, that means nothing because everything's old there, but very old town. And we performed, one of my favorite places we performed was an ancient theater, and where I didn't even have to use a microphone. It was
Wow,
so, I mean,
that's
it
amazing.
was just a duo, but still, no microphone was necessary.
Yeah.
And the stage was slanted like
Wow.
this. It was
So
great,
cool.
really amazing. Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was really beautiful. I had a good time there. That was nice, Spain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how it is to live there exactly. I know people have been talking about Portugal as a good place
Yeah.
to live. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Portugal. I've also visited a lot of places in the north of Spain because my drummer's from Cangas, which is near Santiago de Compostela, and that's really close to Porto. Like sometimes I also flew from Portugal, so the vibe is really, yeah, kind of
It's
different from the
actually
rest of
it
Spain.
was Santiago where I was.
Ah, really? Wow,
Thank
that's
you for saying that name.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really beautiful. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
coast is crazy. It's
It's
like
incredible.
so passionate. The coast is
Yeah,
good.
yeah, very dramatic with those cliffs.
Yes.
It reminded me a bit of San Francisco Highway 1 or so, some places. I mean, San Francisco's even, everything is bigger, but yeah, it's kind of this vibe with those really steep cliffs, and
Yeah.
I love
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
And
Very
there is a place,
interesting.
yeah, there's a place called Cabo Ome, if anyone's watching and want to go there. It's really beautiful. Like you get this incredible view. So I just came from there from a day off. Yeah. Yeah. Now back in Switzerland.
That's great. Boy,
But
that's
we also
great.
have beautiful places.
Yeah, I know. I mean, just it's yeah, it's so different living over there and working over there. It's I mean, you can really tour from country to country, and here it's a real different scene over here, you know. And I remember I traveled a lot in Europe when I was younger,
Mm.
and yeah, I would make these tours for myself, and I would also teach, you know, set up workshops and then a gig and connect it all. And I did it pretty much all myself, but yeah, it's just it's really romantic and wonderful, and I think it's wonderful to be a musician over there, and you know, I'm very happy for you that you're so successful. It's so great. Do you ever travel
Thank you.
to here to the US?
Yeah, I did a couple of times, and now I just performed in New York in June at the Blue Note Jazz Festival. So,
Oh,
and we are planning to come back and do a proper tour with an artist visa next year in October, we hope. So right
good.
now, I think we got one show in Chicago, so we are spreading our our wings.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sure you'll come to LA. It's one of the, you
it
know, it's one
would
of
be
the,
lovely.
yeah, yeah, that'll be great to see you here. That'll be wonderful, wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, it's interesting to me somehow. I always wanted to emigrate to the US, and especially when I was younger, it was like my goal in life. And then I somehow yeah, been stuck here in Europe, because also in the jazz campus where I studied jazz, they invite a lot of US artists like Larry Grenadier and Jeff Ballard, Mark Turner. All of these people come to teach there. So eventually I just, yeah, stayed and took lessons from them, because studying in the US is super expensive. Um, and there is some stuff like Fulbright, but I just didn't feel like it felt like so much paperwork to apply. So yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's interesting that what you say about Europe. In the past, I never thought about it, but I am curious how life is in US. I mean, I guess you can also play a lot. I mean, America's huge.
You can, but there's a whole different vibe to it. Europe is, I think it's very inviting. There's a lot of festivals going on. You can instigate things easier, and I think, you know, sad as it sounds, I think Europe has people who love jazz more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, I'm
that's
really,
interesting.
it's a sorry, it's a sorry condition, really. You would think that America would have its arms open to jazz, but you really have to work hard to find the spots. And it's not that there's nothing that exists, but you have to work hard and create stuff. And um, I think that's why a lot of people do go to Europe, because
Hmm.
it's more welcoming, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy to, yeah, like to see American artists touring every year in Europe. So there must be a reason that people travel so far to Europe. Yeah.
Well,
But
that's
I also I'm really curious to perform more in the US. I really liked it in Blue Note. I mean, Blue Note has also its own kind of audience,
yeah.
but that was really refreshing. I think one of my favorite audiences was in at Blue Note, and also
Really,
in
that's cool.
Spain. I just love this like warm,
Yeah.
interactive audiences who are, yeah, I don't know, not so shy. But
Right, right.
I
Not
mean,
so
I like to
polite.
play. Yeah, I also like to play for yeah, whoever. Like I like to play everywhere, but there are some audiences like in Spain. Sometimes people just, I don't know, shout something in between the songs or so. So I love it. Probably because I grew up in Switzerland. I'm like, oh wow, this is so cool.
I understand that from both sides, from the audience side too. As a matter of fact, this weekend I was at a concert. It was an outdoor concert at someone's home, and wonderful quartet. I mean, just, I have to say, LA has an embarrassment of riches of great musicians, and although two of these musicians had traveled to here, but this guy Nick Mancini, he's a vibes player. He lived here for a long time and then recently moved. So he and the sax player came and used a drummer and a bass player who he had played with a lot here. And just, I mean, it was brilliant music, and everybody was so quiet, but I'm not sure who the people in the audience were. I'm not sure if they were super jazz fans. I know a lot of them were lawyers. A lot of them had little babies with them. It was really
Oh
interesting.
wow.
Maybe they belonged to some kind of a baby club or something, but I was kind of the only, no, there was one other guy in the back, who, like, as they were playing, I'd go, yeah, or,
Yeah.
some kind of response and laugh it up. But I always feel it's my duty to make the audience relax. Come on, you guys, make a noise, enjoy.
Yeah, you're like this kind of people then who are paid to clap,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
yeah. No, I
But
think it influences us artists a lot when yeah, when the
absolutely.
audience is more interactive. I think that makes the music better in most of cases.
Don't you think? Yeah. Oh, there's somebody who's sending regards to you. Uh,
Oh,
let's see if I can
sending regards
pronounce the
to
name. Lesek
Leszek, yeah.
Strelecki, something like
Streletsky or something. Streletsky. Yeah. Greetings back. Looking forward to meet you next year during our US tour.
And my friend Roland is here too. Yeah, Europe has a lot more institutional support for music in general and for jazz in particular. It's true. Lots of support financially as well. You know, it's honored. I wish it was honored here, but I wish I wish a lot of things
Yeah.
here. But yeah, so I just have to tell you, I have to say again that I love your singing, and I have to say why. I mean, I really resonate with what you're doing. It's I like you use one thing that was really obvious was that the space that you use, which I love space, and your rhythm sense playing with that, with including space and harmonically. And you wrote that song, right?
Yeah, I wrote all the songs. Yeah,
I figured because I wrote a song similar to that when I was
Oh,
younger.
really?
Oh, she wrote that song, I can tell.
I want to hear your song.
Okay. And then the musicians were wonderful, and your relationship
Thank
with
you.
them was wonderful. And I also like your presence. Your presence is very natural and honest. You know, it's not over the top. And even though I can hear that you have beautiful voice technique and I can hear your ears, you know, your scales are just stuff that you went for was great. That's not forefront. And that's what I love. I love a singer who's real and emotional and true first. And the other stuff is, you know, it helps us, right? It supports us, but it's not
Yeah.
what we're doing, you know.
Yeah.
So I just
Secondary.
think,
Thank you so much for your kind words. That's
yeah,
really, yeah, warms my heart. No, it's really motivating to hear that, especially the authenticity part, I think is so important to me, to be an honest artist, I think, or just honest person. I think that's
yeah.
one of the most, I don't really care what style of people do or play. It's always about, yeah, honesty and just being yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So, okay, now that we've covered a little bit of now, so now I want to know about your history. I mean, what I do when I do interviews, I look a little bit, but I don't research heavily because I actually prefer just kind of an improvisational hang, you know, like a
Yeah.
conversation. But
Yeah.
I did see your website, and you know, I did look at your bio and all. But so you're Japanese and Polish, or that's your heritage, right?
Mhm.
It's a
Yeah.
cool mix.
Yeah, yeah. My dad is from Japan, originally from Nagano, and my
From where?
mom's from Nagano, which is
Nagano?
like, yeah, it's like more in the south from
Yeah,
Tokyo. It's kind
yeah.
of in the middle. And my mom is from Poland,
Uh-huh.
from Olsztyn, which is more in the north of Poland. And yeah, they met in Switzerland because they are both musicians as well, and they
Oh,
studied in Basel, where I live now, and that's how they met. And then
are they jazz people or classical or?
classical. Although my grandfather he played the jazz clarinet as a hobby. He always played in jazz bands, and he kind of wanted my dad to become a jazz pianist, but my dad wanted to be a classical pianist. So, but he also plays a little bit of jazz on the side. When I had birthdays or so, he used to sit at the piano and improvise something that just sounded incredible. I didn't know where that came from, but because he never practiced jazz at home.
No.
Yeah, but we had a couple of jazz records at home. Not many, just a couple, but Ella and Louis, and then we had Glenn Miller, I think Moonlight Serenade or something like this, and Stan Getz, and I think that's it. And that was so influential for me. I think those few records, especially Ella and Louis, I just listened to it. Since
Yeah.
I was a little
And
kid.
did you grow up in Poland, or where did you grow up?
In Switzerland. The
Oh,
first 3 years in Basel,
yeah.
which is in the north of Switzerland. And then we moved to the French part because my mom was working at an opera house. She's a classical opera singer. And then we moved to Zurich because my dad got a job in the conservatory of music. And yeah. And since then, I've been living there for many years in Uster, which is close to Zurich. And then I came back to Basel for my master's to study with those American teachers, but also Swiss, like Lise Spindler. I will send you her stuff as well. She's a great singer from Switzerland. I really love her. And yeah, and here I am still in Basel. I always thought of emigrating or so, but somewhere else. But somehow, because the connections are so good with the airport is like 5 minutes away from me. And also the train station is like 15 minutes away from me. So I can just hop on a train to Germany or France whenever I want. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's very nice. So when I mean, obviously the music that you're creating is not exactly like what you grew up on. I mean, it's jazz, but it's more open and modern. So, where did that occur? Where did you fall in love with some particular musicians, or and then start going in that direction?
Yeah, I always loved Ella Fitzgerald a lot, and Louis Armstrong. I think those two were my idols.
Yeah.
I also bought a CD of Billie Holiday when I was a teenager, but I kind of didn't like her voice because back then, and now really like it. But when I was like 14, I was like, oh, Ella is better. The same as I had listened to Björk for the first time when I was 14. I just took the CD because it had such a nice cover, this debut, the first one with the hands. I just loved the picture as a 14 years old girl.
Yeah.
And then I listened to it. I was like, this is a bit strange. I don't like her voice. But for me, Billie Holiday and Björk were like good wines that need some time, because when I was around 22 or so, I got back to those records and I loved it. I just absolutely fell in love also with Billie Holiday, and yeah, for the phrasing and the ideas. And also Björk a lot. I mean, she inspired me a lot to also do my orchestral work and to arrange and to see her interviews. I just realized, okay, I can do this as well. Like, there is a woman who did this, so I can also learn that. That was really encouraging. But the jazz influence, I think, from especially Ella and Louis, and then later on as a teenager, I mean, I've listened to every kind of music: pop, rock, metal, black metal from Norway,
Really?
punk. I had a punk phase and like everything. But I also really like more Chiba, Jamiroquai, this kind of groovy stuff, or trip hop, which I think influenced me a lot as well. Nora Jones, Diana Krall. I don't really listen so much to her anymore, but I remember when I was 17, I just absolutely loved listening to her. So I think that was like a start for jazz. And I was like looking up the standards. She does like Fly Me to the Moon. And like I took my first jazz singing lessons when I was, I don't know, 21 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't really, I mean, I thought when I was 19, I thought I don't want to become a musician and I should do something like normal. So after graduating from high school, I just went to the university to take some lessons in Latin, because in Switzerland you need to have Latin, like a certificate in Latin language, to then be able to study literature, like German literature or so. And I wanted to become like, I don't know, a journalist or something like this, or a writer. So I went to German literature classes, but it was just, after a couple of weeks, I was like, okay, no, I think this is not the right thing. And I just felt that if I can't do music on the side. I thought at the beginning, okay, I want to learn something else than music, because then I can, I don't know, somehow live from that and make music on the side. But then I realized that literature is as hard as music as well, and doesn't really pay anything, or at least from those people who I knew around me. So I just quit it, and then I I wondered, like, okay, I want to sing. I read this book of Deepak Chopra, 7 Ways to Luck. A friend of mine gave it to me, and I just had 1 week where I was reading that book, and I was just immersed deeply in myself, in my own world. I almost didn't talk, and I just heard this voice, like, I want to sing within me. And I just, yeah, called some friend if she knows a teacher, and I ended up taking my first jazz lesson. And I thought of jazz because I wanted to write my own music, and I love improvisation. And also there is one school in Zurich in Switzerland where you can study pop, but there's just one space. And I also thought that in pop it's not about improvisation, and or back then what was offered was more like copying other pop singers. And I just, for me it was what drew me to jazz was the harmonies, the seventh chords, the tensions. I think that was so that was something I missed in like typical pop music, or in this repertoire that people who studied pop were learning. So that's why I applied for jazz studies, and somehow from that moment on everything got so smooth. I mean, that was crazy that when I studied literature I somehow didn't have any friends there. I mean, just like one. I didn't feel really connected to people at the university. It was so strange. And that one friend who I became friends with also dropped out. Like, she just didn't want to continue neither. So I think it was just not a right match to study there, also not for her. And then when I went to the jazz department, I already made friends. Like within the first day, I was kind of friends with everyone. And I already played with bands when I just started in the pre-college. In Switzerland, we have a pre-college program to enter the jazz studies. So I just went there, and I already made connections with some bands from the bachelor's department, and I was already singing bachelor exams, like although I haven't even been singing jazz for half a year. So yes, I think it went really quickly. And when I started studying jazz in my first year, already after 3 months or so, I got my first gig request, like, hey, do you want to make a jam opener concert? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, how long is it? Like, yeah, it's like 40 minutes. Like, great, because I only had like 10 standards in the pocket. I didn't know more. I was like, yeah, sure, I can sing the gig. So I just sang the first gig with just knowing, I just sang all the standards I knew, and then I was jamming and just, yeah, I just loved it. And it felt so right. And I also created my own website, just, I don't know, within maybe like 1 month later. It was just so clear for me that I want to play gigs, and so everything went really fast from there on.
Wow, that's a good story.
Yeah, it's crazy sometimes. I think when you start living your purpose, I think things align. Because before, with these literature studies, it was really like a big struggle. I was kind of lost there, and I mean, it was also good to take time off, and because I grew up in such an artistic environment with my parents being musicians, and I didn't really see any like normal life of non-musicians. So it was great. Back then I was with my ex-boyfriend who was also he was working in a bank, and I tried this like non-musician's life, or even non-artistic life. And I thought of just quitting. I even didn't sing or play the piano for, I think, more than a year. But then it was just so strong, I had to come back to it. But I think it was also good to see the other way of life. And I also worked as a waitress in restaurants, sushi restaurants, where I think I learned a lot too about human psychology, how to talk to people, and how to see their needs. I think it's in a way similar, like later when you're at a gig and you talk to your audience or to the organizers. It's kind of the same, like when you're serving food. Now I'm just serving music to people.
That's great. Yeah, and I've gotten a lot of value out of philosophers' books, Eckhart Tolle and Abraham, and on and on. I mean, the books by the side of my bed is, I don't know, there's probably 20 books, because I read them. Well, like Kenny Werner's books. Have you read Kenny Werner's books?
No, but I want you need to send me the title later.
Okay, I will. I'll write that down because actually he wrote a book about 25 years ago. And then last year he came out with his second book, which is incredible. And Berkeley literally made a department in the name of his book, Effortless
Wow.
Mastery. And
Yeah, that's yeah.
yeah, and they have him leading it. So this is really significant. Yeah, this is what we
Yeah.
need. We need to think like this. We need to have realizations. And, I mean, what we're doing is it's kind of holy, it's it, brings you closer to God, whatever your idea of God is,
Mm,
it's an amazing thing what we do and what we're involved with. And especially when we're really committed and we do it all the time. I mean, it's a really beautiful way of learning about life, right?
mm. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally am with you there. And well, I'll send you some more.
Yeah. I
There's
need some recommendations for this summer. I want to rest a bit from my phone and spend more time reading. Yeah.
yeah, there's another one called Free Play, which is a really great book that also was
Mm,
written 25 years ago, around when Kenny wrote it too. And
mhm.
that's a good book. And the bass player who wrote that great book, I talked about it yesterday with my guest, um, Victor Wooten. You know that name?
No. Mm,
He's a amazing bass player, and
mm,
he's probably closer to my age, but his book too is a wonderful book. There's a lot of great books. Even just stories of people's lives is very inspirational. But
mhm.
these books are also, I guess, they're under self-improvement or something. But as you said, you read that book and you were in a space and your mind was in a
Yeah.
particular way, and
Yeah.
those are the real crucial turning point times.
Yeah. Totally. I wish I could tell Deepak someday that he influenced my life so much with this book. And I also read last summer when my phone stopped working for like 3 weeks or so. I was just without a phone,
Oh
which
my
was great. And I just
gosh.
I read this this while traveling in Spain. I read this book by Sahara Rose. I think it's Dharma or something like this, or Find Your Dharma. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also a foreword of Deepak Chopra because he kind of discovered her. So um, yeah, and that also helped me a lot to realize like what to do in life, what to follow and what not, like to follow the things that bring us joy and yeah, where you get into a flow, right? Where you gain energy.
Yeah.
Like lately these days I'm working a lot on my new album and listening to it for like 1,000 times and giving feedback. And we ended up producing it now with Chris Heisen in London. So he's been sending me the tracks. And yeah, it's been so much work and feedbacking him until 4 a.m. because then he had to work again at 10 a.m. And I'm not a morning person, so I prefer to do it in the night instead of waking up early. But I felt really energized. I don't feel tired from it. So that's yeah, it's crazy. And then there are other things when I have to do too much of this like office work and yeah, small Excel things. So I'm really happy that I got a manager now, Marta, and she's helping me with all of this like more organizational, structural stuff because it's not something I enjoy and that I'm not really good at it at this. I mean, I can do it. I survived. I've done it for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
Being a musician, I've managed myself for I think 10 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, now was the time to get people on board and do it together because yeah, otherwise my creativity starts to suffer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're at a turning point in your life, and it's great. I mean, it's just so great to have people on your team
Mhm.
helping and doing things that and you do at some point you look at what's going on and what you want, the closer you are tied to that, the better. And then you look and you see, yeah, I don't want to do this. I've already done that and it's a lot of work. And right now my energies are in this spot and I really want to put my energies there. So I can't really do this
Mm.
anyway. Actually, I had an epiphany myself last week. I I've been working on a Patreon account. You know what the Patreon accounts are?
Oh, great. Yeah. I
The
want
thing-
to do that since 3 years.
well, maybe this will be inspirational for you. So I'm a person who does many different things all at once. That's just the way I am, and that's the way I've always been. But so the Patreon account for the last 3 years, I have been carrying it around in my brain that I have to do it, and I keep going to the page and messing messing around with everything, making all these different tiers and giving gifts, and all that. But I never launched it because it didn't feel right to me. I wanted to launch it. I thought that the people would get a benefit from it. Um, but it just didn't feel right. So actually, I read a book. A friend of mine is a very big self-help guy in the Netherlands. His name is Jan Bomere. And so he wrote this book, and it just came out in English. The book has been out for a while in Dutch. But so I was reading it, and I swear it was one sentence that I read, and I sat back. Of course, I'm going through things around it, right? Not just this book, but going through observations and realizations and stuff. But this one sentence made me realize the reason why I haven't launched it is because it's too much work. It's like a whole career in itself. And I don't want that because I'm busy doing other stuff, recording and producing and the show and teaching. I don't need something more to do. So even though it's good things, I didn't want to do it. And then I realized I have been wanting to write a book. I've been wanting to review all of my interviews. There's like a lot of them, 450.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Crazy.
and 2
Yeah.
hours each, right? So I've
Yeah.
been wanting to review them and picking out the aha moments that I've had and putting them in a book, or a series of books. And I suddenly realized I can make one tier in Patreon and invite people to come with me one whole day every 3 weeks, and we will together watch the video. I'll write down my aha moments, and they can tell me their aha moments too, and they'll be contributors. And that way I win by actually having my book get done, and they win by, being part of it. And perfect. And so I decided, fixed, and launched it in a few hours because I was excited, I was inspired. It was the right thing to do,
Yeah.
and that's
Amazing. Yeah.
yeah, I want to do that more and more, simplify, throw out the stuff. Maybe when I was 35, I was busy and putting out stuff and going to Europe and going to Japan. And can you do this gig? Yes. Everything was like right there and I was doing it. But now I have different priorities, and I feel like I'm really in the moment and enjoying the moment. So yeah, so I really, maybe that my Patreon experience will help your Patreon experience.
Yeah, that's very inspiring. I need to still find my way how I'm gonna contribute there. Yeah, but that's yeah, I totally relate to this.
So did you say, I was just imagining how busy you are. Did you say you orchestrate too, or you write for an orchestra?
Yeah, my last album, the Stardust Crystals album, was for 11 musicians. So it was for like strings, harp, jazz rhythm section, saxophones, and flute.
And you wrote
and vibraphone. Yeah, I wrote all of the parts. Like I composed the songs, and I also arranged the songs for this band that I had. And then during the pandemic, unfortunately, we were never able to play because some musicians were from Spain, some from England, some from Germany, France. Like, it was a really international project, which somehow worked in the beginning because some people were studying in Basel, and that's how we met. But yeah, it just became like impossible. And then I performed this concert at Schaffhausen Jazz Festival, but unfortunately not with the whole band because the borders were closed. So it was only for 8 people, so I had to adjust it and rearrange the music again. And then
Oh my God.
somehow from that moment on later, we played one concert at a festival when the pandemic got a bit better in 2020 in September. And I think like 2 weeks later, everything went down again and clubs canceled their shows, festivals, yeah, it didn't happen. Yeah, and then I just started working more in a small band, yeah, just with Iago Fernandez on drums and Kuba Dvorak on double bass, and they both now live in Switzerland, like here. Yeah,
Cool.
so we all live in the same house, and it's just,
Oh, cool.
yeah, it's much more convenient, and we can have weekly rehearsals, and I think I really needed that too because I went from this like arranger and yeah, arranging every single note for everyone, but then we weren't really able to work a lot on it anymore and to rehearse regularly, especially a big band needs that, I think. So yeah, so now I'm working on my next album, and we've recorded it trio, but with some guests and some things, and also a bit of like production for the first time, like a bit more um, like synthesizers and stuff. So I'm really curious where it goes. But I think in general, I feel probably more comfortable with smaller groups. Although I did this huge project and I really loved to be on stage with all of them. But as I said already, like the whole organizational part was just taking over at some point, and I couldn't really focus on the music
Yeah, yeah. I
because
have
I
a
didn't have.
question. I have an
Yeah.
arranging question, or, so I've thought about this a lot over my career and experienced various things. But so, when you arrange, do you prefer to arrange every single note, or do you prefer to, of course, have certain things like arranged like that within the song, but then some of it open for, you know, not improvisation necessarily, but um, each individual to create something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so for the orchestra, I think that was also the time when I realized I don't want to continue singing jazz standards. I mean, I respect it a lot, but I just felt that I'm not. I think that was after my participation at Montreux Jazz Festival in this like competition. And there I somehow realized, and I met Jarreau, and that was really like really inspirational. And during that week, I realized, okay, I need to write my own music. Like that was again a moment where my heart spoke to me, like, okay, now you need to, you came to this world to write your own music. So from that moment on, I focused on this. But in the beginning, it was very hard to just come with a lead sheet and make people play what I wanted because it's so specific. So I started then arranging for my orchestra, and because that also came like a vision that I had one day lying in the grass at the river, and just had this crazy imagination that I want to, that I just suddenly heard this kind of project of so many instruments, and I called my best friend, the cellist of this project then, and I said, like, I have this crazy idea of large ensemble, but I've never composed for strings and harp. I have no idea, like, do you think this is like realistic? I think it's crazy. And he was like, no, I believe in you, you can do this, just start. And then I just started it, and I think that helped me a lot to form my own sound. And now I like, and for this project I had to write every single note,
Uh-huh.
or I mean almost every, except in the solos. The comping, of course, of the bassist or so was more like in a jazz way, just like chord symbols. But other than that, everything was written out, except also the drums part. I didn't write the drums part, but sometimes I also wrote like here brushes or so. And now the new compositions are more a bit. Also, some parts are very arranged, and especially my piano parts that I now play, that in the past were played like by a harpist or a vibraphonist or guitarist, but that's really kind of strict and every note is written. But then also there are many parts where we are freer. So now it's going more towards the freer again, because I think I gained so much trust in my musicians and also clarity of what I want. Or I guess when people play with me, they already feel my aesthetics, and I don't really have to explain that it's not, I don't know, just. But in the beginning, it was a process. Like I think I first had to like show what I really want, and I had to write out every chord and everything to find my aesthetic. So I guess I recommend this also to other people. Maybe when you're so like specific, right? Like when it's not in the jazz history, also not a normal pop song, somehow we need to figure out what we want.
Yeah, that's great. That's interesting. I've interviewed, do you know John DeVersa, the trumpet player?
No, not yet.
He's pretty well known here and I guess elsewhere too, but he as a matter of fact, he's the head of Frost Music School in Florida, which is pretty well known there. But he has this big band that he's written for years, and he actually, we were talking about arranging and stuff, and he said, I said, oh, I would love to be able to arrange for a string quartet, and he said, do it. And I said, well, you know, I mean, I went to Berkeley, but I didn't, and I was beginning to arrange, but I was very young, and then I kind of stopped. I went into singing instead, and but that see, that's something that I would need to commit to, like you have. I would need to really commit to it and work through, what you have to work through, that as you say, the process, but the other thing that I've been listening to a lot for the arranging and the playing is so good. You must know John Beasley, right? The pianist. You know of him?
No, I don't know. I need all of those names of your
Yeah.
US artists that I don't know. I'm so sorry. Is he from the US?
He's from the US, and he's in that the International Jazz Day that Herbie Hancock created. He's the musical director, and he's a great pianist, and he works with Maria Mendez, who's
Yeah.
right? Yeah, she's an amazing singer, huh? And
I don't remember. It says something. I thought I know her, but actually I don't remember. Yeah, but I heard the name, Maria Mendez.
She's amazing. And but John has this group that he's been writing for a long time called Monkestra. So and there's this one record, Monkestra plays John Beasley. Anyway, I've been listening to it over and over again. I've seen them a number of times. I love them, and John's an old friend of mine. But the thing is, when you listen to great music and great arranging and great playing, and like you said, it's rehearsal and playing together over and over makes such a difference. And so these guys they're great players, and the charts are amazing, but they've also played together over and over, and it's stunning. It's some of my favorite arranging that I've ever heard. It's really great. I'll make a note.
Wow, yeah, please make a list with books and musicians for my summer tour that I'm gonna listen to on the train.
And another person I thought of earlier, do you know Clarice Assad?
No, neither.
Definitely you want to check out Clarice.
Oh, what does she do?
Okay, so she is a singer and pianist, composer. I don't know how old she is. She's in her, I don't know, mid 40s or something, maybe, or maybe older. She's incredible. She's Brazilian, and her father and his brother were the Assad brothers, who played classical guitar, and they were huge. very well known in classical circles, and she's as a matter of fact, I think she still has this very interesting project that she's done continually. I wanted to remember and check it out too, but she's a doll and she's so friggin' talented. You're gonna love her. I
Looking
guarantee.
forward to hear her. Yeah, to listen to her music.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna write these names down Diversa. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, just I mean, there is so much amazing music going on the planet, you know.
Yeah.
We are filling up the cracks of, you know, for all this incredible stuff, you know. And as my friend says, we're definitely balancing out the wacky shit that's happening, you know, in
Yeah. Yeah.
the other universe, whatever those people are doing on this planet, you know. We are definitely balancing it out. I think the planet would have blown up if it wasn't for us.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, I think so too. It's so important to have music and arts. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to play something, so I'm going to it, wait, chat. Okay, I didn't go to the right spot. Okay, so I'm going to go to a video a video with your orchestra. Let's do that. I hope this is one. It's not like official, right?
No, it's not official. It's just a bit of a crazy one. It's one where I do like a vocalist. I don't sing lyrics, but
okay.
But it's also on my album Stardust Crystals.
Okay, good, great. Well, we're gonna see that.
And I'm just gonna quickly grab my glasses.
Yes. Wow, good ending. Loved that. Wow, that's that is cool. Really
Thank
cool.
you.
Wow. So, I was I was thinking of more people I know who would really like to check you out, like Jay Clayton and uh,
I love Jay Clayton. I took lessons with her.
oh, you did?
Yeah, in 2000, I don't remember, 12 or so. I have to write her back because she told me that she's in Europe and she could do
Yeah,
a
she's been in
vocal.
Italy, but I think she might be home now. Or let's see, was she going to Italy and then can like above Canada, or maybe she did it the other way
Hmm.
around, I think. Anyway, she had a workshop in Italy, but she might be gone by now, but maybe it's still there. I just hung out with her
Yeah.
in New York.
Ah, great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love her.
I love her
She's a
too.
really great person and teacher. Really, really motivating.
Yeah, she came here this year for her kind of 80th birthday tour, and she
Mm.
did
80. Oh my God. Crazy.
really crazy, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
But anyway, but her also, Judy Silvano loves this kind of style as well. Do you know Judy Silvano? She's a
No,
friend of
not yet.
Jay's, and
Oh.
she also, like with Jay, she's married to Joe Lovano,
Ah, okay, yeah. I know him,
and
but I didn't know.
yeah, and they were in New York during the Loft period, years and
Mm.
years ago, and so they love this what you just showed me too. They would love to hear that, um, but yeah. Okay, so ho- um, I'm just trying to think. So my question is, how do you come to do something like that? It's so uh, modern and free, even though there's structure, but it's free too. And I'm just trying to think of times when I've been free like that, and like especially with this one group that I have, small group, but we played together enough, and that's where their minds are. Their mind and my mind live in the same universe in this way, so we can be very free. We can uh, whatever, do poetry, spoken word, improvise in the music. We still have the songs, but we go out and in and out and in. Um, so I'm just curious, I guess, how you came to that. Uh, was that a long process that you um, allowed yourself to be free like that? Was there a time period when you were kind of wondering, should I be free like that? Or is that going to be accepted? Or was there a time that you went through like that?
I've always been into improvisation since I was a kid. I
Uh,
think it was harder for me to do classical music because I had to play everything what was written.
yeah.
Um, and I kind of wanted to quit all the time, but then my parents like pushed me to continue.
The
I'm also,
classical, you mean?
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
also grateful now that I have some basics that I learned with classical singing and the classical piano, that I can use now for my music. But with improvisation, I never had this. Like I was always very, how to say, fascinated with improvisation. I think from the first like jazz lesson on, I just made an improvisation solo, and the teacher just said like, "Oh wow, like, you must have listened to a lot of jazz." And I didn't listen to so much, but I think it was just, yeah, just very natural. Then of course I had like some moments. I went to a concert of a pianist, Eve Tyler, who
Okay.
is one of my favorite pianists of Switzerland. I've also recorded one album. Maybe some people who like more of like free improvised music will enjoy that album more. It's not on Spotify or YouTube. It's on my Bandcamp. It's called Ypsilon, and it's very. There we have like two songs with lyrics which are a bit more lyrical, but the rest is a bit more like crazier.
Yeah.
Um, and we just released that kind of on our own. um, yeah, but I went to a concert of his and I saw Omri Ziegele, who is a really great saxophone player. and he is really like radically in this like free improvisation scene in Switzerland, in Zurich especially.
Uh-huh.
And I was in my second year of bachelor, I think, when I was kind of fed up with this jazz standard world. I just felt like I shouldn't be repeating this. Like, there are already amazing singers out there. I have like my own story to tell, and I'm also not American, or yeah, like it's not part of my history who I am. It became part of it, but it's not.
Yeah.
And then I was just blown away by his show, this Omri Ziegele. Like, I just started crying after the gig. I said, and it was really abstract. He was like kind of shouting and improvising lyrics, talking, playing really crazy like really, really extreme free stuff, like almost no harmonic things in there. And I loved it so much. His expressivity, or how to say expressiveness, or expression. And I went up to him straight after the gig, and I just started kind of crying, and I said that it's moved me so much, and if I could have a lesson or something. Then I asked my director at the school back then, and he organized it for me that I was able to take lessons with him. And that, I think that was a big influence for me. And also playing with Eve Tyler, because it was like an own school of this free improvisation, this like losing all boundaries, being very impulsive and allowing yourself to follow your impulse. And I also organized some workshop with him for other students who were interested into it, because when I'm into something or someone, I just, I become like a preacher. So I just share it with everyone. I just got super obsessed with this Omri and his way of improvisation. and then my friends did this workshop with me, and we worked on this, like, I think the first three lessons with him were just about impulse and improvising with your face. Like we just did like stuff like this. We did that without any music. We didn't play any note. And then I think one exercise was how to play just one note on the piano. How do we approach one note? Or, like very philosophical. And then I took those lessons with him alone, where I was just running around the room and just, I don't know, slamming doors and I don't know, and making music with a window, and I eventually ended up improvising on the drum set, and he ended up singing. Like, it was so incredible. And there at the beginning, I had a bit of some kind of a problem, that it was hard for me to start from the beginning on, like to be in there 100% from the beginning on. Omri told me like, yeah, like it's good, but you always need like a couple of seconds to really be there. Like, we need to work on the beginnings. That you really, and I just had to improvise alone there without anything, alone in the room. And I did like 100 beginnings in front of him, and he was like, okay, yeah, that's more this. And I just worked on this. I think maybe that was a moment where I felt some kind of limitation from my classical upbringing of like thinking or not allowing myself. So I really needed to kind of get naked music-wise. And I think that influenced me a lot until today. When I sing, I kind of feel like it's about life and death or so, or especially lately. I mean, these videos are also from, I think, a couple of years ago. I feel more and more like that I'm, more in the moment, and really when I open my mouth, it's like some energy going through me. So I think that was very heavily inspired by this free improvisation episode in my life, that I kind of did just very radical stuff. Also with my voice, like weird sounds. It was all about forgetting about beauty, about creating a beautiful sound. Yeah, because there I had some kind of blockages, and he was really encouraging me to go beyond it. Sometimes I hurt my voice back then because I started screaming, but it was definitely really important.
Yeah, on that one, I thought some of it actually, to me, sounded Japanese.
Oh yeah, really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. It's like, oh, there's her Japanese stuff coming through, it's really
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the crazy stuff. I mean, that's also interesting in the Japanese culture. It's like so controlled, but at the same time, people are really crazy, or at least people in my family were also very passionate and very intense, extreme. So I think I also learned that from my father, to be really like yeah, to really live it like 200%, to not, because yeah, I think I got this from that culture. Yeah, because sometimes like like for him it was also, for my father it was, music was also kind of like about life and death or so, like really to really live every moment on stage as it was your last one or so. And I think that brings some intensity that I'm interested in. Also when I listen to other people, or I went to hear Björk, and it was just so amazing because I also think she has
Yeah.
this kind of energy. Every note, everything is, it's not about a beautiful, I mean, she has a beautiful sound, but it's not about beautiful sound or controlling. It's just about letting go and being connected to the spirit and energy. Yeah, so I'm really into that.
Yeah, that's really great. Yeah. I know the beauty thing is that can be it can be a pretty solid consideration that we've grown up agreeing to, it has to be beautiful. Yeah,
Mm.
and yeah, it's got to get beyond that, I for one realization that I had later in my life when I had a new teacher, and he kept saying to me, "Stop analyzing. I know you're a teacher, but stop analyzing." And I was like, "I'm not analyzing. I'm just, I'm singing." Then I realized I was analyzing, but it was so under my consciousness,
Mm.
and I was analyzing everything that came out. I was having trouble singing at that time because I have this chronic cough and it's just gotten in my
Mm.
way of my singing. So um, when I realized that, it was it was a turning point, huge turning point, because all the things that I, of course, had taught, you know, as as a teacher, you're so smart, you're brilliant, you're giving all this really cool, inspirational information, but then you have to apply it to yourself. So all of that stuff just came to me. It was like, oh, okay, right. I have to do what I'm telling the students to do. And now that
Mm.
I've seen what I'm doing, you know, I can stop. But so much of that stuff is so subtle and so under your consciousness, that it it takes it's not I don't want to say it's not easy. I kind of words are kind of, you know
Yeah.
but it's not easy. It's challenging, and it's a life challenge, and it's a process, as you said,
Mm.
um, and also has, as you said, it's life and death. I love that. That is so wonderful to think about. It's full commitment, and that's. I mean, I think that's what a lot of people love when they listen to music or they love an artist. That's what they actually love. They love the artist's commitment.
Mm.
That's a really tangible, wonderful thing. And speaking of that, so um, do you? Oh, Roland wanted to know roughly what percent of that vocal is improvised. Probably a lot of it, right?
The end was improvised, yeah.
I
But
mean,
the rest I was arranged in that song, yeah.
in your
I
singing.
arranged.
So when you
But I
sing,
say,
like,
ah no, in the middle part was also something improvised. Yeah, so I guess like 50% or so of
it's
that
kind of
arrangement.
obvious because you're singing with the orchestra, so
Yeah,
that's arranged, but then the
yeah,
other stuff is improvised. But what I was
yeah.
going to ask you was, so do you have a perspective? Does your perspective include what you hope and intend to give to the listening audience, or not even the listen, just put out in the world?
What do you mean with perspective? Sorry, like I didn't understand.
In your point of view, you know, um, do you feel, I mean, that's kind of unnecessary to say, actually. Do you feel, I'll just shoot to that. Do you feel that you have an intention or desire or purpose to put something particular out into the world? other than just singing your, other than just making your music? Is there some kind of a
Ah,
message or a
yeah, yeah. I want to speak about things that maybe in society are not, that people don't speak about, or it's like how to say, not allowed, or people are
taboo
ashamed.
or
Or,
something? Yeah.
yeah, like that was especially with Stardust Crystals. I wrote many songs about other people from my surroundings, the society, about our nature, yeah, the environment, the environmental crisis, but also about a friend of mine who ended up in a psychiatric hospital, and that also made like affected me so much. Somehow, I was so sad seeing a person who had a whole life, like I don't know, a relationship, a job, an amazing apartment, friends, everything was like so normal, and from one day to the other just ended up in the psychiatric hospital because this person didn't share about how she felt with people. Like there was so much anxiety and stuff going on, and also the relationship wasn't good, for example, which I also kind of didn't know, although I was super close. I mean, I could sense some things, but I never thought that this person would, that people would enclose her in a psychiatric hospital. And that was so hard for me. So I thought yeah, it also affected me. And I was thinking of quitting music. Everything started to be so unimportant somehow. And it also scary to think that the craziness is so close to us humans, like to get out of our system or to become homeless or whatever. Like, yeah, that person also lost their apartment, everything, the boyfriend, and kind of the whole family was, yeah, it just really affected me. And I took a guitar and I just wrote that song, Little Things. And I also sent you the link. Maybe later we can hear that. So I wanted to write a song about this, to not make other people like keeping everything inside them, to start sharing earlier, like, okay, how are you today? I'm not so good. That's it. Like to not always have the pressure to be like, ah, I'm good, yeah, because in that case it was very much like this. Like nobody thought it would come to such a situation. I think it's important that it's not a taboo to to talk about how you really feel. So because that person obviously is not a musician and cannot go on stage, so I felt like I need to write a song about this, to maybe, I don't know, to help other people or also myself to go through this. And I wrote Ballad for the Unknown on the album Stardust Crystals, was also about my neighbor who died from an overdose of heroin. And I didn't know the neighbor, just knew that something is going on. And then I heard outside my other neighbors, like his daughter was sharing that he died, like her father died from an overdose of heroin. And that just made me so sad as well. I couldn't fall asleep, and I just felt like this connection with this person whom I don't know. That's like Ballad for the Unknown, because I don't know that person. But I also felt like I need to write a song about this, about, yeah, these people or circumstances that are not spoken about or kind of forgotten in our society. It's like he wasn't a celebrity or so that everybody would know the story. So I just felt like doing this. So I think, yeah, also then on the next album with Shimon Mika was also a lot about like equality, gender equality, and also that we have this duo where we really had both functions of composer, arrangers, with lyrics. It's like kind of 50-50. Some songs I brought in, some songs he brought in, and one was also inspired. I wrote one which I wanted to dedicate to a Brazilian poet. Yeah. She, her name is Aurita Tapayara, and she's a homosexual indigenous person. And I think it was really hard for her to get out of like her tribe, and she was forced into marriage and having kids, and then figured out that she is or maybe I guess already before, but wasn't, she couldn't live her homosexuality. So yeah, I had a show with her in Brazil, and that really moved me so much. To meet her, I couldn't speak to her because I don't speak any Portuguese, but I just felt such an instant connection. We spent one whole week there preparing a show together with her, like indigenous singings and poems and my improvisation. And yes, I wanted to honor that with this song Minha Flor. And a lot of it on that album is also about, yeah, like self-discovery and questions in life. And I wrote the song Running about living your purpose when we were just talking about this, because it wasn't so obvious for me to become a musician. And I often, also when I teach, I see people are like not living their full potential. So yeah, I hope people can see themselves in my music or my lyrics and connect. I think that's important to me, to just reflect our society, to put light on things or people that it's not speaking about, because I got the chance to go on stage. So I want to also represent people who don't have a voice to talk or to sing on stage. I want to tell their stories.
Well, thanks for saying all that. And I'm going to actually show people your site, because now I actually understand your site a little bit more from what you were saying here. And let me share. And yeah, so it's a really nice site. It's just
Oh, thank you.
There's a lot of great stuff. There's tracks. This is what you were just talking about. Is this the, or is this,
That's Float and Drift. That's how I wrote together with Szymon Mika, with my friend. He's a guitarist from Poland. That's also about, that was not running, but that's also about life and how we are like kind of running away from each other, and how to like face your real truth and live it. Yeah, I think that album was a lot about this topic as well, like
yeah,
self-discovery.
and top 10 jazz thing. Oh, I see. And you're in here.
Yeah, I started doing this news thing, but I need to update it because all of the reviews things got deleted on the old websites. I need to upload it. So I just put some.
Well, there's a lot of great stuff here. This is yep. Um, it's great. It's actually shows a lot of what you're doing, and yeah, and then here are your concerts. So this is your steady group, right?
Yeah, that's a trio I work with a lot.
This
Oh, yeah,
is was
mainly.
this the bass player and the drummer, or guitar?
Yeah, this is the bass player, and the other one is the drummer.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed your guitar player in that first one that I played. That was great too.
Ah, yeah, he's great. That's Wilfried Wilde. He's from Galicia. He's really, really great. I usually play with Shimon Mika.
Uh-huh.
That was during the pandemic, and I got invited to a Spanish festival, and we had this gig with Wilfried, and then this recording session. And I
Yeah.
had never played with him before, like just jamming. I really love his playing. And he's also coming to Basel to the Focus Year program. I hope
And
he's gonna spread
sorry,
his wings.
yeah, I might be making people dizzy by doing this, but I noticed you're booked into 2024, right?
Yeah, shows in 2024.
That's wild. Lots
Yeah,
of stuff next year.
yeah. I'm gonna release my new album,
Yeah.
uh, and we are booking for, yeah. It's gonna be released in spring, so we have some like, yeah, Europe tour going on in spring, and then for autumn we are planning this US tour, and in between just, yeah, I guess again like Spain, Italy, or whatever comes up. But yeah, also some countries don't plan so much in advance, so
Yeah.
it's harder to get early dates.
See, that's what I'm talking about. So yumiito.ch, that's your website. I'm gonna post it on YouTube. Yumi Ito. CH. CH the Swiss kind of thing, or?
Yeah, I wanted to have com, but com is never available. So if anyone can make it available, I would buy the yumito.com.
Under your
But I
name?
can. Yeah, I would love to buy that, but it's just not available. I think lately it's free, but I don't know if it's like spammers writing me. Bless you.
Thank you. That's interesting. Yeah, all that
So
stuff.
CH is for Switzerland.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, right now I'm so I kind of like you. It's like what I've wanted to do, I just go and do it, and then you see what you've done, and then you fix, and you fine tune. But so I've opened up Logic, and I'm working on some recording projects that I can practice the vocals at home, and maybe even record them. I don't know. And then also I've made iMovies in the past, with like singles that I've put out, but there's some new questions I have. So now I have to, I don't know what, look it up on YouTube or ask somebody who knows about iMovie, or, that's what I
Some
have.
like videos.
Yes.
Yeah, music videos or something like that.
Yeah. It's fun.
Great.
Yeah, I made about 3 during the pandemic, and
Mm.
it was good. Like they were timely. One was a song by Marvin Gaye called "Make Me Want to Holler," and talks about the irony of politics, and what how they're controlling the general public, and like
Yeah.
and
Yes.
so that was fun. And then another one was Sermonette, which was written by Nat Adderley and John Hendricks, and kind of a gospel jazz tune, and just kind of a gospel type of feeling, like
Yeah.
and then I did a ballad, and I had a good friend of mine sing it with me, and uh that was I forget whose ballad it was. It's some famous rock guy. Anyway, but I put those out, and
And check it out.
yeah, I have several more that I want to do, and especially now, with what's the crazy shit that's going on the planet.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
really
know. I
crazy.
don't know, man. Just glad that we're musicians.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel so privileged to be safe, and I mean, some of the musicians I know are now in the war, like in the Ukraine, for example.
Really? Are they?
And they were just playing in Basel like 1 year ago or so. Yeah, so that's so heavy. Yeah. I mean, everyone involved in the wars. But
Yeah, but to have friends who are musicians who are actually fighting now,
yeah, it's just like
terrible.
unbelievable. Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is
there was a moment, March, when when Russia attacked Ukraine so heavily and the war like really escalated. I had a moment of I was just reading the news every day, all the time, and it couldn't really work. But then I also I had to record some vocals at home for an album of a friend because we couldn't meet in person because of the pandemic. So it was the first time that I recorded my vocals in my bedroom in the night. But I was a bit skeptical, but it turned out well. But somehow that was really hard. Luckily, I had this album, so I just had to record it because I had a deadline. And between reading the news and being completely, I don't know, like just shocked and sad, and calling friends and talking about this, and how they are doing, and writing with people who I know from Ukraine. I just had to work and make music, and then I also started playing gigs again after this like pandemic winter where a lot of gigs were canceled again. And then I kind of came back to life And yeah, music really helps me to not fall into some, I don't know, depressive state or so. Seeing what's going on in the world, or mass shootings, or I mean, all the wars in the world. It's just, yeah, as you said, it's like it seems like in a parallel universe, but it's not. It's like, yeah. So I hope that people can find some joy in what we artists do. I mean, I listen to music every day, and also
Yeah,
completely addicted to it. I couldn't live without it.
me
Yeah.
too. I never understand how people don't listen. It's like, don't you listen to any music? Really? It's like, wow, I, I can't understand. I
Yeah, we need.
don't get it. And the thing is, there's so much great music. There's so much out there to listen to. I mean, I have a huge list of things that I write down, that I want to check out. Like somebody like you might say, tell me about somebody that I don't know. And then so oh my God, it's on and on and on. It's endless. Sometimes people ask me, like, will I run out of people to talk to? No. My God, there's like thousands, millions of people, artists all over the planet making music, and it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, yeah, it's great that you do this. It also connects us. I mean, it's crazy that you're in LA and I'm in Basel, but it feels like, I don't know, I always feel super connected through Zoom or whatever. Like, we don't need to be together physically. We can just connect energetically, and it feels like we are in the same room.
Yeah. I also feel like on an ethereal level that by our connection, we are making uh, the aesthetic universe or whatever you want to call it stronger. We've connected, and now both our universes are joined, and
Hmm.
everything that you do and everything that I do are now connected. It's like,
Yeah.
and so again, towards the balance of life and the planet, I think that's great. I think it's important. I really do.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I think I also once I went to these workshops in the Omega Institute with
Oh,
Bobby McFerrin and a lot of other amazing singers. Also, Rhiannon was there. I don't remember some other names, but um, and Christiane Karam or something. I think she's a teacher at Berkeley now.
yeah.
Yeah, and she also taught us some like Arabic scale, and I was so
Mm.
emotional. I just felt like, wow, that, yeah, like if I was maybe in some past life or so from from somewhere in the Arabic part of the world, like it just felt so crazily emotional with those quarter tones, and
Yeah.
I felt such a relief with those quarters, such a freedom, because it's so somehow limiting to just think in the system we have now. Um, but also there, yeah, I just met Malene Kjærgaard. She's also a singer from Copenhagen, because we performed in Copenhagen at the jazz festival 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I met her after 10 years or so, because we met in this workshop in New York. And I remember we were talking about this when we met last time as well, that this moment was so incredible. We were just improvising for the whole week together with those, I think it was like 100 or 200 people, but not musicians. I mean, some were musicians, but most of them not. And they just loved singing. And Bobby McFerrin did those circle songs with us, and sometimes invited us also as a soloist, or we danced in a circle. Like, it was so magical. And then besides that, we were also all the time singing. We were just, I don't remember, also outside the class after dinner, we were just singing outside in the grass, just like, I don't know, 20 people at the same time doing some. And that was the moment when suddenly I was like completely like out, and I felt like in trance or something. I felt that this is the moment when we were born or so. I just suddenly
Yeah.
started seeing stars and the universe, and I realized that we are sound. I mean, I started once read a book about this, but that we were sound, or I thought that before I came to this world I was sound.
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe why music is so healing, because we are, I don't know, I guess maybe the universe is sound and everything. Like, yeah, it just felt so crazy. And I just shared about this experience when I saw Marlene, and she told me, like, yeah, I remember that was so crazy for her too. And she's like, you were completely out. I was like, yeah. And I mean, I didn't take any substances or anything. I was just such a, like, I felt like I was born or something. I don't know. It's maybe a bit out, but I can share that with you. You're from LA. No, it was just, that moment just stuck with me. Like that. It's really, I had this moment also another time. And I think when I sing or especially improvise, I go to this like other place where the notes are formed and music is formed. And I think that's why music is so important for us. Probably we are just sound, or we are frequencies.
That's great. Wow, that's like a whole other, that surely is a whole other focus and reality, you know. And really great, really great. Um, yeah, Rhiannon is a friend of mine also, and she about 10 years ago, she did a workshop here, and actually it might have been more than 10 years ago, you know, pre-pandemic or you know, um, and there were a number of us there who were decided, hey, we don't need Rhiannon to be here to do this. So we became a group called Fish to Birds. And as a matter of fact, we just met last night. We haven't met a lot in the last few years because of the pandemic, but we just met last night. Oh my God, it
Oh,
felt so good. So basically, we just improvised together. There's 7 or 8 of us, you know, and we have kind of somewhat of forms that work, like that we can do. You know, we try different games that, you know, Bobby or Rhiannon might instigate. And but you know, we do all kinds of free things, and it's just, it's, I mean, just remembering what it felt like last night. We had some really beautiful stuff happening last night. It was really great. But
oh,
yeah, so I've been doing that for, you know, a number of years with Fish to Birds, and it's just a great, it's great. I love it. And but Rhiannon is, you know, she's also an agent of change, right? She's
yeah,
pretty great too. Um,
yeah, she's, yeah, amazing.
yeah, she's got the biggest heart.
Hmm.
So lovely. Um, oh, hi, Ohio, Hiroki.
Ohio.
He's from Japan, Hiroki. Um, yeah, so um, this is great conversation we're having.
Yeah, so
I had no
wonderful.
idea you were so much like me in my mind. My spirit, I should say, really, because it's not really our minds.
That's why we connected.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I can't wait to see how your career develops more and more. I mean, it's already like so going so well, and then but I know that you're kind of you're 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 probably on this hill already that's going up, and you're going to go up, 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 up. It's great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I just want to make music and spread it. And
So you said you teach also? Is that part of what you know, all
yeah,
your time spent?
yes, I also got this job at the university in Zurich as a
Uh-huh.
first as a main teacher last year, and I've also taught in Lucerne during the pandemic. Just for during one semester, I took that was how this somehow started, because before that I just taught like one student or so I had on the side.
Yeah.
And then I got this job offer last year, and I kind of, yeah, I didn't know what to do with it because I felt I'm too young or not at this point right now where I want to, or where I can teach so much just energetically, and because I'm not so often in Switzerland when it's not a pandemic. But then I applied for the job because, yeah, somehow like 20 people were telling me, just apply, do it. And then the director called me as well and like invited me. So like, hey, I think it would be great if you just try. So I tried and I got the job, which was kind of like a surprise for me. And then I did it with this. The last semester was really a lot for me. It was almost 50%, and
Was it a
together with
class or individuals?
individual lessons. Yeah, I had like, I don't know, 12, 13 students, but every week. And it was really a lot with the concerts and after
Yeah.
the pandemic when everything started reopening. And yeah, so, and I've also been working a lot on being a side woman in many projects in the last years as well. So everything was just a bit too much, and I had a lot of teaching going on suddenly as well, especially at this like university level with like, I mean, incredible students. There's also a lot of responsibility, and then the concerts on my own and the concerts as a side woman, and then yeah, after like 2 months, I realized I need to like reduce this. It's just not the moment yet. So now I just have like 5%. Just like I will just go, I don't know, I think 4 days per semester or something like this. This is
Oh,
more
yeah.
like a workshop. I just feels more natural right now for me. Although I really enjoy teaching as well, and it's very. I think I grew a lot through meeting all of my students in the last year and working with them. It was the first time for me to really work with people, a whole class for one whole year, and prepare them for exams and to see the whole ups and downs and the whole development. I mean, it was really inspiring too. Yeah, but it was also very challenging for me to balance everything out because when I start teaching, I can also kind of get lost in this like because it's fun and I also like to coach others and then it was almost like I forget about myself that I'm an artist as well. So then I had those concerts and it just felt a bit more difficult for me to switch and therefore I think for me it's better to teach like more in a yeah like 2 days here and then again no teaching and then like just more concentrated. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know how you do because you also teach how it
I
is for you
do,
to like
but
gig teach.
yeah, but over the years, I mean, I've taught at different schools, different universities and stuff. And first of all, I'm not very good with red tape. So,
What is red tape?
red tape is like the administrative stuff,
Oh yeah.
and and then being the socially correct teacher, like the student goes to the the university head and complains about you, and then you're supposed to change. It's like,
Oh.
yeah, no, I don't think so. So eventually, I mean, I'll still do a class here and there, and I do like to give workshops. I really do
Mhm.
like that. And for about 16 years, I actually had workshops at my house, like a lot, like 10 a month. And not just me delivering them, but like if you came to town, I would have you be a teacher, for their
Oh
workshop.
no. Mhm.
And for years, a lot of people came. I mean, that was a different period. It was about 20 years ago. And the students who came to all of the workshops, and they got so much out of it. It was all these different people teaching, and you got to see that everybody sees the same thing, but they communicate about it differently.
Mhm.
And anyway, I really like workshops. But then, so in more recent years, I've just gotten into private lessons a lot more. So I'll do online and also live. And I also changed my website during the pandemic to reflect more of my spiritual philosophy, because
Mhm.
I really didn't want singers showing up who wanted to do Beyonce or that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I'm not good at that, and I can't really give a lot in that area. But if you're ready to have a realization, and if you're ready to commit, no matter if you're a beginner or whatever,
Mhm.
then I can help you, and
Yeah.
so, and actually, I've really enjoyed the people who've shown up by looking at my site. It's
Great.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Mhm.
It's a really good thing. So, yeah, but also in more recent years, like told you, in a long time ago, I would come to Europe, I would book a whole tour. But in more recent years, probably partly because of my family life, I have not really got like, work to create that kind of a thing. Like I'm actually going for a workshop in France in November, and I thought, oh, I have to go to Paris. I'm right next door pretty much.
Yeah.
So I added a week in Paris, had my husband come, my husband's will come for that week. And then, I've been talking to various friends of mine. Like yesterday, I have a guitar player friend who lives in the Netherlands, and I could just go over and probably spend a week there. But, I don't know. I can't really do that now with my husband and all that stuff. So my life has changed. And, um, it would be really nice to expand in that way. And also Japan is like my second home. I've been to Japan,
Really? Oh, yeah, I
yeah,
love it.
40 or 50 times, and I traveled there for like 20 years. And
Wow.
and I'm dying to go back to Japan, but with the pandemic, I have felt I'm not really over cautious. I'm reasonably cautious, but I'm not a kind of person who goes out with double masks or, doesn't hug people, or, I'm
Yeah.
not that kind of person. But Japan is a little different for me because when I go, I teach a lot, and where we teach is small rooms, very small rooms. And I just was like, probably people over there are going, I don't really know if I want to go into a small room and sing. And me too. It's like,
Mhm.
I'm not sure about that. I would go over for concerts on bigger stages or bigger rooms. But yeah, I really miss going over. I was
Oh,
supposed to go when the pandemic started for 3 weeks. And I was kind of
oh
like,
no.
oh, should I not go? And I finally
Yeah.
decided not to go, which was really
Good,
smart.
because you could have maybe stayed there. Maybe they would
Exactly.
close the borders for, 2 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was March. It was right
Yeah.
when everything shut down. So
Lucky you.
yeah, but I really love Japan. I love the culture, and I think in a past life I was Japanese.
Yeah, probably if you feel so connected. That's so beautiful.
People
Yeah.
over there, people always, I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say to me, "You remind me of a Japanese grandmother." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know I do."
Yeah, you could have some Japanese.
Can we
That's wonderful.
let's listen to another one that you sent over. And I'm not sure. Let's see,
Oh,
you
yeah,
sent,
we can listen to this. I think that one. Although the other one is also good. Little things, maybe.
let's see, was that the first one or the second one? Because it doesn't
I
have
think
the
it's the
name.
first one.
First one, okay.
I think it should start at the right
That one,
one.
yeah, Little Things.
Sing this song for all the broken hearts, lost souls, don't want to hide behind thick walls. Sing this song for all the broken hearts, lost souls, don't want to hide behind closed doors. It's a little story about our little life that I wanna hear the most. It's a little wrinkles around your eyes that I wanna see the most. the broken hearts, lost souls don't want to hide behind thick walls. Oh, I sing this song for all the broken hearts, lost souls don't want to hide behind closed doors. It's a little stories about our little lives that I wanna hear the most. It's a little wrinkles around your eyes that I wanna see the most. It's a little stories about our little lives that I wanna hear the most. It's a little wrinkles around your pretty eyes that I wanna see the most. Gong, 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 gong. Gong, 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 gong.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny to hear this song now because now I play the part on the piano, but at that point I hadn't played the part yet. So I just started step by step. Yeah, then there's I started step by step rearranging the songs for the trio during the pandemic when I was unable to play with the whole orchestra. So that was after an artist residency where we were rearranging this for the trio. But since that time, now I played on the piano and I learned the parts. So it's like an ongoing process.
Right. Sorry, I'm just
No problem.
lost my, oh, I know I lost it. There it is. Okay. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's it's great musicians. It's such a you do such a combination of things. You know, the smaller groups, the larger groups. It's really wild. Oh my gosh, you know, it's just about 2 hours.
Yeah, I could talk with you forever. It's like-
No, I just love you. I'm a big admirer of yours. I'm
thank
so
you.
glad we met.
I'm so glad we met. You're amazing. I love your energy and I need to check out your music. I'm so sorry that I didn't have any time to get into it, but now
No
I know
worries at
about
all.
your YouTube videos. I'm gonna.
Yeah, no worries at all. You know, I'm just, there's millions of people on the planet to check out, so no worries. But
Yeah, but you're on that list. No, I love your energy and that you're doing this thing and like reaching out to people and talking and yeah, it's so interesting to talk to you. I like it so much. It's also not like a classical interview. It's just so chilled and
that's what I
yeah,
like.
it's like
I
talking
like
to a
it so much.
friend.
Yeah, I like that. I really do. Um, are some of your events coming up? Are some of them streamable? Do you know?
I don't know actually.
Yeah.
I don't, but I can let you know in case right now I
Well,
think
I mean, if anybody wants to, I mean, we can
yeah,
always go check because it's listed on your website.
yeah.
So we can check. I was just curious. Um,
Yeah, me too. But maybe I'll do some like from time to time. I also do some Insta live concerts or so.
oh
Sometimes
yeah.
I do some from our rehearsal space, or maybe I should once do like a concert. But yeah, there will be definitely also our show from Blue Note. I will publish it at some point, and
Oh, good. Yeah.
there will be a lot of new material coming in the next months.
It's fantastic. I'm just very excited to know you, And I'm definitely going to be following what you're doing, and let's communicate. And I'll send you a few of those names that
Yes, please.
we
And I
talked
will send
about.
you
Yeah.
those that I talked
And
about.
I would like some names from you too.
Yes,
Of
I'm
the
gonna send them.
yeah, yeah.
Ah, yeah, and if any of your listeners or people who watch this have an idea where I should play in next October, I think, or September, something like that, next year, for our tour in the US, feel free to text me or
Okay, well,
send
I have some
suggestions.
ideas. I have some ideas for LA too, you know.
Oh, great.
So,
Exciting.
yeah, and uh I don't know if you'll be on a whirlwind tour, but if you're hanging out in LA, maybe we could do a workshop too, because I still create.
Yeah, that would be lovely. Yeah, I really love workshops. Yeah, I wanted to say, I realized after this year that I'm not so suited to do this like weekly teaching every day in an institution at the same time,
Yeah,
having like 8 students in one day. But I love workshops or just like, things where you can really dive deep and be there. And it's like, yeah, a
yeah,
unique thing. I really enjoyed that, and I also created that now for my students because I just felt that this weekly institutionalized way is not just doesn't match with my personality or with my. It just drains me. Not the fact of teaching, but just this. Yeah, I'm just yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. It's like once I'm there teaching, it's great, but just the whole everything that it takes getting there, you know, it's like, God, yeah. But the teaching is great.
Yeah, it's fun. It's so much fun. I really love it. But I especially love, yeah, in workshops to also that other people see people singing and the
Yeah,
students get more nervous. It's more of a like a live situation that when you're on stage, people are watching. I also sometimes I make my students comment about each other as well, giving feedback, and it's so interesting what everybody else sees. Like
so
just
interesting.
yeah, I learned so much from my students. And yeah, like teaching, especially in the university, made me so much self-aware again about myself and my singing. It was a bit maybe uh, almost toxic at the beginning because I felt like, oh, I started analyzing myself again and recording everything. And but I also feel that I grew a lot. It's like if I had studied again. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's incredible to learn so
yeah,
much from teaching,
it's great.
observing others, and then observing myself if what I teach, if I also do that myself. That's
I agree. And this year I finally, after many years, I finally wrote this little book. See, it's very little.
oh,
It's a philosophy book. And the reason, like part of the reason that I wrote this was because in teaching, I heard myself and observed myself um, giving direction that was uh, applicable to other areas of life. And I realized over the years that the lesson, a lesson is your lesson, period. It can apply to your family life. It can apply to your vocal technique. It can apply to jazz singing, the same lesson, you know.
hmm,
And
yeah,
so I wrote a little book about that, and
wow,
yeah, and so I'm with you about the teaching. I think if it hadn't been for the teaching, I don't know if I mean, I guess I would have seen that somewhere, but it was so obvious of what I was saying to the student. It was like, oh my God, this is a life lesson, right?
yeah,
The student
yeah.
would go, yeah, it applies to my life, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I think teaching is such a valuable, it's an honor and a valuable, very valuable thing.
Yeah, yeah, it's really incredible. Also, yeah, that by teaching we learn ourselves from the other person.
Yeah.
People like are a reflection of us. Yeah, it's amazing and so inspiring as well to see what other people do. And yeah, that really challenges me too as an artist to see my students shine. And like I really want to, like, I feel like more up to date, even though I'm only 32 and my students maybe some are like just 5 years younger, but I already feel that it's a different generation and how they approach music is so different and with internet and production, and I'm really inspired by this, or by the show with lights. And when I started doing jazz, I never thought about these aspects of a light show and a glittery dress. So it was just like, jazz clubs. And now that I also play on bigger stages and stuff, I'm really interested into the whole show aspect, and that's really inspired, I think, by my students too, who grew up with different kinds of music, where it's also more visual and yeah.
That's really wonderful. I love that. I think that's really valuable and worthwhile. I think that's a great thing to bring along, with you as you progress. Um, I was actually going to say too, that last video was really beautiful, and the lights were beautiful. And I also happened to notice that your dress was similar. I don't know if you go to you do this on purpose, but to the very first dress, not exactly, but there was a line that was similar, and I loved it. It was very elegant and simple. Actually, sometimes I notice that. Like, do you know Liz Wright, the singer?
Yeah, I love Liz Wright.
I do
Oh,
too. And when you see her live, it's
yeah.
really a beautiful experience. And partly because of her appearance. She always wears these long, simple, kind of sexy dresses, but they're not blatantly sexy. They're
Mhm.
sexy because she's gorgeous, and they're very simple. She has tiny little earrings on, it's like it's very simple, and you can obviously feel that she is connected to God, and it's flowing through her and her sound of her voice, but the visual is really effective as well.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I just realized I want to wear more colors on the stage, because I usually wear black, but I also realized it's like staring at a black hole or something. So
Well,
yeah,
but
it's
the
nice to wear
style was great. I love the style.
colors. Thank you. Yeah, I just love aesthetic things, or I don't know, beauty, art,
Yeah,
clothes.
yeah.
Yeah, I started working with a designer now for the first time, so she's gonna make some clothes for me that I'm gonna wear in the next music video. I'm so excited because this has
Ah,
been my dream forever, to work with a designer, and I just love, yeah, all beautiful things, beautiful art covers, fonts. I can choose forever about which kind of font I'm gonna choose for my text on the album, or which photos. Or I just love good photography, beautiful design, art. Yeah, it's so fascinating. And I think it's so important as an artist to
yeah,
approach it from, yeah, I wish I could do everything myself, but just I don't have the time. So
yeah.
I love seeing how my photographer takes pictures and what is important for her, and the lines, and stuff I don't know about, but that makes it so pleasant for the eye, or colors, cuts. Yeah, I'm just I could do that or choose those things forever. It's just so inspiring. I think it also inspires me back, the whole process of choosing pictures for my last albums and clothes, and I think that also made inspire my music, or the way how I perform. Yeah, or who I am.
It's great. Well, it's been wonderful. Thank you so very much for being on and giving me some, your valuable time. And
Thank
I
you so much.
definitely want to stay connected with you. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's really beautiful.
Let me know when you come to Switzerland, or yeah,
Yeah.
when you're in France. I mean, Paris is just 3 hours from where I live, so if you ever want to come here.
That's great. Um, and for those listening tomorrow, I have a very interesting guest on, Eduardo Signori, who's has had a very interesting life. He's from Uruguay. He's a bass player. And believe it or not, when he was 20, he won the lottery.
What?
Can you
How
believe
much
it?
did you win there?
I'm not sure yet. I have to ask him, but I and
Uh,
but Uruguay was really politically going through a lot of stuff when he was growing up. So yeah, he had a very interesting life, and yeah, he's a really interesting guy. He lives in LA here, and
Wow,
yeah, so tomorrow he's on,
cool.
and then I go back to some archives for the rest of the week. So, thanks so much, Yumi. I
Thank
just
you so much,
really
Cathy.
fun. Thanks so much for being on,
Thank
and
you.
have a great night. And I'm really gonna look forward to seeing what you're doing and hearing more stuff.
Thank you. Likewise. I'm interested in your book as well. If I
Oh,
can
thanks.
order that or so on your website, I guess I will
Yeah,
check.
if you have Kindle, you can get a Kindle.
I have Kindle. Yes, I'm gonna get it on Kindle because I never use my Kindle. That's good to use it. So good
I
luck.
try. Oh my God. I have
Good
Kindle
luck with
and 20 books on the side of my bed.
Great. Yeah, I'm also still a book person. Good luck with your Patreon. That
Thank
everybody
you.
who's watching will watch
Thank
your
you.
Patreon. And
Thank,
yeah, nice day.
thank you.
Thanks so much
Bye-bye,
for
sweetheart. Bye-bye.
goodbye.